All right, so we're gonna finish up. We're gonna let Charlie talk about. He was talking about the album cover and his feelings about that.
Yeah. So point I was going to make is I grew up listening to albums, so not really the radio. I had my brother's CDs, tapes even, and the whole thing was always an experience. You had the booklet, you had the great artwork, and you had these amazing, complex, interesting albums. And I think you need to have, when you're putting music out there, you really need to think about the whole package. So I'm glad that we were able to find Angela, who did this wonderful cover, because I think it really encapsulates the feel of a game of whispers. It was that missing link that I just wasn't finding, the visual link. Can't always do it. You need to find the right artist for the job, and we really did that. We've actually got the CDs in hand. They're at John's house now, um, and I'm really, really, really happy with the physical product that we've got there.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
I ordered one yesterday, and I'm hoping
Oh, that's great.
in a couple of weeks it takes. It's got to go through customs and all that stuff, but hopefully in a couple of weeks I'll have it too. And
Yeah, we'll be shipping them closer to the release date because what we've got to do is we've got a few signed copies to sort out, and then we'll get them over to Gravity Dream, who are doing the distribution. That's Robin Armstrong's Gravity Dream, which is where anyone who's listening in can go and buy their copy of the CD, gravitydream.co.uk. And if you want to buy the digital album when it releases on the 31st of May, you can head over to our Bandcamp page, ageofdistraction.bandcamp.com.
You want to talk a little bit about that concept or that title, A Game of Whispers, or
Ooh. We had that quite early on, didn't we, John?
we did.
Before we actually had the music for the song "A Game of Whispers," I was fascinated by that title for some reason. Probably because as a lyricist, I keep writing things with the word "game" in it, which is a pattern I'm going to try and have to break. But it's a different visual, it's a different theme, and I think it's quite. I think it really encapsulates that communication breakdown aspect that two people are talking about one another, but not to each other.
yeah,
And they're building up these distorted, twisted shadows of the other person that don't really look like what that person really is. But yeah, have you ever completely fallen out with somebody and you go to your friends and you talk about that person, and it's a distorted vision. It's to get people on your own side, isn't it?
yeah.
And that's the game. That's the game of whispers. We're always in that mode of trying to get people on our side, and sometimes to do that, you try and turn your side against the other person. It's a cruel game.
It is.
No one wins if no one lies.
No one lies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, love that lyric, and I think it was always the contender just for how strong a title it was to be the title track of the album as well.
Yeah.
Well, you guys.
Go
ahead.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead
because
I'm
ideas out there for the album title, but because obviously we'd released Game of Whispers as a single and it won Prog Magazine's Track of the Week, and we just kept coming. It's like anything, we just kept coming back to it, and we threw various kind of options out there, but like Charlie says, it just encapsulates everything, that the whole album, that underlying theme, and it just grabs you, and obviously I think it's probably my favorites. It's certainly, I mean, I change my favorite Charlie vocal on the album every time I listen to the album, but I have always said that Game of Whispers, everything about it, not just the melodies and the delivery, and how when you listen to it you feel every word, and an incredible vocal on it, and I think that for me is what tips it over as being kind of worthy to to kind of name the album it as well, because you know you want your album title, you know, the title track from the album to be a strong one, and it, you know, it's an incredible song with an incredible vocal, and you know, musically it's huge.
Beast.
So yeah, just another one of those things that just worked.
Yeah.
That opening snare,
Yes.
Yeah.
like a gunshot.
It is. It's huge.
I'm gonna give another shout out to our main man on the production job, Dom.
Yeah.
I didn't know how good a drummer he was,
Yeah.
and the way he's arranged his drums on this album are just brutal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They sound massive. They were all recorded in effectively a spare bedroom with microphones out in the
He's
hallway.
John,
Sorry.
you mentioned how Prague Magazine already grabbed onto this. Has the audience out there, are they hopefully, you know, screaming for you guys to release this as soon as possible, right? Hopefully. How has it gone over with the Prague public?
Yeah, like really, really well. I think, to be fair, you know, Charlie, going back to last year when we kind of started to release the singles, you know, Charlie's plan was it was always about the album for Charlie, is where I wanted to kind of drip feed music out there purely because I wanted it to be heard, because I was so proud of it. But the support so far, I mean, we made it available for pre-order on the 5th of April. And you know, for a band who's, you know, we don't have a live presence yet, and we're in our infancy when it comes to what we do and being known, and kind of, we did a limited run of signed copies of the album, which, you know, all went that weekend, which is
2 days.
Wow.
it's pretty big. It's pretty, yeah, 2 days for a band who, you know, it was going literally from a standing start. It's been incredible, and you know, we get loads of, you know, really positive comments on social media. We're working with Bad Dog Promotions to you know, just get that reach as far and as wide as we can, and just get the album heard. That's all it's about for me, you know.
Yeah, deserves it.
Yeah, just you know,
Anne is a
hopefully.
star. Anne is a star. Yeah, she is fantastic.
Hi, Claire.
Hi, Anne. No, but really, she really does a hell of a job for all the artists she works with. Do you have a schedule of dates yet, or are you going to be appearing at some festivals, or while we're talking about that?
Yeah, it's a big question. I mean, the thing is, with us kind of being scattered about the country, you know, band practice would take quite some organization, shall we say, and you know, a 5-hour drive for Mark, or a long train journey. And the one thing that I wouldn't do is I wouldn't represent the band live without the core members, because it wouldn't be right. We could grab, you know, another bass player who's more local, but it's not what it's about. You know, Mark is an integral piece of the band, and you know, if we were to do it, which, you know, I'm going to push for us to do it. I will make it, you know, I will make it work, and I will make it happen. But at the minute, we just kind of we need to get the album out, and then we can look at the logistics of, you know, how and when is it best positioned to say, right, we're going to do, you know, these 3 dates or those 4 dates. And you know, we just need to, everyone's got
Play it
busy.
smart.
Yeah, we've all got busy kind of calendars, and yeah, we just need to find a slot which would allow us to all give the time that it deserves to ensure that we can bring the album to life properly in a live setting. But I'm under no illusions that, you know, it's a big ask, but I will make it happen. There's nothing that I won't, you know, that will stop me from making it happen.
Great. Talk a little bit about your relationship, or your collaboration, I should say, with Ruby Jones. We're going to talk about the others too, but let's start with that one, because that opens the album. That's the the Uninvited is the
Correct.
first track. And you can talk a little bit about that too if you want. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, Ruby's a great friend of mine. We go back a good few years when I was still in covers bands, and we were in a prog rock covers band
Wow.
with each other. My introduction to Ruby was her audition where she played the opening to Firth of Fifth, note for note
wow.
perfect, probably about double the speed that Banks did on the record. And it's
Yeah.
something that I know
Interesting.
Banks was never very good at reproducing live. There's a version out there of Banks playing that intro and fluffing it, and they never played it again. So I mean,
Interesting.
Ruby's just
I'm
extraordinary.
gonna have to look for that. Yeah.
Um,
Is it out there on YouTube
I don't know actually.
for Ruby?
she-
Ruby, not-
She's recorded it. I don't know if
Yeah.
she's published it.
Okay.
I'll see if I can get hold of that for you.
Well, no, yeah. Go ahead.
But at the moment, she's in her own band called the Exotic Isis Project. But in terms of how she got involved with Age of Distraction, well, that comes down to John having ideas that needed someone to fill the piano stool. Over to you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, to be fair, we could probably talk about both collaborations because they both originated off the same song. So, I wrote. We'd played when I was in This Winter Machine. We played a couple of gigs with Stuckfish, and I was a big fan of Phil's vocals. Incredible vocalist live, great lyricist, and writes some gorgeous melodies. And when we played, I kind of just got talking with him, and I mentioned that I had kind of an idea for an acoustic vocal track that would he be interested in kind of collaborating on, and he said yes, as and when kind of time allowed. So I sent him the files. He went over to Ed Fisher's studio, who's Ed Fisher also from Stuckfish, and kind of started to work on it. And what he sent back is kind of the reason how Take Me Down become a full band track, which also leads nicely into Ruby getting involved because, as I say, I originally wrote the song as a purely acoustic guitar with vocals. What Phil sent back was too good, and to allow Phil to kind of navigate some of the time signatures, they'd put just a very generic drum beat to it. But when I was listening to my guitars and then the drum beat, I thought, you know what, that actually works, and it kind of helped the flow of the vocal. The moment that I heard that, I sent it to Dom, says put some live drums on this, and spoke with Charlie and said, do you think Ruby would be interested in working her magic on that, and seeing, that was the kind of first time that I'd ever had any dealings with Ruby. To be fair, Charlie's obviously was the one that recommended, sent the files over, and what come back was exactly what you hear on the album, and just an amazing take of everything with very, very little kind of guidance. It was just a general idea as to what we were looking for, and just smashed it out of the park, which is what then I said, would she be interested in opening the album? So I wrote a piece of music, or a framework of a piece of music, and knowing how good she was on Take Me Down, I just kind of threw it her way and said, work with that and see what you come up with. And yeah, I mean, to be fair, it's quite funny because I says it's going to open the album, but nothing too long. It's an introduction, and it's going to lead into something else. And like, she sent us back this file that was incredible, but it was like 6.5 minutes long. I was like, I get it, it's a prog album, but maybe a little bit too long for a piano opener. So we
bonus track someday.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we always said. We'll throw that one out there at some point. But yeah, we use the kind of the main theme that she created, and then Dom worked his wizardry on putting some kind of orchestral stuff in there as well. And yeah, it's so that's kind of how both collaborations were originated on the same track. And yeah, the rest is kind of. We do have Ruby's done some other stuff for us as well that's not made it onto this album, which is kind of still work in progress, and the same for Phil. And funnily enough, on the same track. So yeah, it's like
There's
they,
going to be a
Magnets.
follow. There'll be a part 2 maybe, or another song on
Yeah,
album
exactly.
2. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
But yeah, just really is people to work with, and I think that's the beauty of what we do. Is just how easy it is to work with everyone involved. No egos, no stress, no hassle, because ultimately this has to be fun. We all work day jobs, and we all have lives outside of this. We're doing this for the fun factor, and if it's not there, then you don't want to be it. But it's just it's just fun. Every day is a day to be a day to behold with these guys. It's just the in jokes that we have, and just
Yeah.
for a band that is not a live band, so we don't rehearse.
You don't get to meet up, no.
But it's like it is, and it's like it's been there for years, which is again just beauty. It really is. It's just great.
Well, I want to thank you for introducing me to both of them, because I hadn't heard of either. And now it's broadened my horizons. I want to go out and hear some of their other music. And I'm sure that happens over here in the US, where, Phil and Ruby are not everyday names in music. So thank you. Thank you for introducing them. Thanks for bringing them in and allowing them to collaborate, because they really made a difference.
Yeah, big thanks to them. It just adds another dimension to this whole melting pot that is the Age of Distraction sound. Great.
Yeah, there you go. All right, how about I'll open it up for you guys, but I just got to ask. Well, no, that's the last song. I got to do it. No. Before we do that one, you guys talked about what you think is your favorite. My favorite is definitely Oceans, and I've always loved anything to do with the ocean, but that is just a fantastic song. I don't know if either of you guys have heard Pearl Jam's Oceans. Nothing like this at all. But anyway, just talk about that. Charlie's vocals are just out of this world. The lyrics are superb. Go ahead.
Lyrics,
We'll start with this one, and then I want you guys to talk about the ones you like. But I had to get that one in there.
That's cool. Go on, Charlie. I'll let you. It's a funny one, though.
Yeah.
It's a good story, this.
Yeah, I was almost cursing John for this particular song, actually, because we'd gone in to record a different song. I think, was it Protect Me that we'd done?
It was.
Yeah. But we had some time left at the end of the studio day, and John was like, "Right, guys, I've got an idea. I've written some lyrics for it. We've got about an hour and a half. We're going to create a song now." And I like to be prepared. I like to have rehearsed. I don't like to be put out of my comfort zone. It's
anyone would. You're recording something. You want to be.
If you're going to commit something to record, I like to be polished. But then sometimes it just clicks into place right there. So while John was recording the acoustic guitar for it, right there in the room with Dom, bear in mind that most of the time this isn't the process. Usually we're not all in the same room creating the track together. It's all done remotely, apart from the vocals, which we always had to record at Dom's. But a little idea started forming for the melody from John's lyrics, which are absolutely beautiful, by the way, dude. And I was humming it behind him, and he was like, "Charlie, yeah, that's sounding good. Let's do a take." I was like, "Oh, do we have to?" Yes, we did. And by the end of that hour and a half, we'd recorded the song. I think there were a few orchestrations that Dom still added after the fact, but he'd done the percussion ideas on it
Yeah.
to give it some drama, and we'd figured out the framework of the song. It just came together so quickly, and it's getting such a great reaction. I know that
Oh, good. Yeah,
Gary
not the only
Foster.
one.
Yeah, well, obviously we read your review and we were thrilled to bits with
Yeah.
pretty much every word that you wrote in it. But
Thank you.
I did clock that
Absolutely.
you liked Oceans. Go on, John. You sent it over to Gary Foster, didn't you? Just as a little sneak peek, and he loved it as well.
I did. And that's just again, that was just because I can't hold my water, and I've for want of a better term, and just because of how that, like it happened exactly like Charlie said, which was the beauty of it. I could have given them a little bit more time, but I purposely didn't want to. So across the week, running up to, I think I wrote it on, like, we were going in on the Saturday, and I wrote it on the Thursday night, and then penned the lyrics on the Friday, and then sent it to Charlie on the Saturday when I was meeting him. So it literally no time to prepare, and we got the Protect Me vocal down, and yeah, Charlie did 4 takes. That was it, 4 takes, and then and that is what you hear. It literally, take number 4 is the one that's on the album, and
Wow.
Charlie's like, oh well, I could have done this and I could have done that, and I was like, but you probably couldn't have done that, because everything about how he delivered it, the meaning behind the words, and you felt it. And I said, if you go back to look for perfection from a take, you'll lose the emotive side of what you're trying to deliver.
No,
And it's just absolutely, it blew my mind when Dom sent us like a really, really pardon me, rough vocal acoustic and a little bit of percussion like later that evening. I was just like, wow, we pulled that together in literally 2.5 hours, and that includes the actual recording of all of the acoustic guitars, all the vocals, and pretty much writing it. So yeah, then Don worked the orchestration afterwards, but to turn it into the kind of what you hear now, which is it's a song that I never get tired of listening to. It's every time I have to kind of pinch myself that that's us, because it's something very special.
and you left a couple of instrumental songs in the album, which obviously was probably part of that initial. You wanted this to be an instrumental, and you didn't want to leave those lying, because they're very good and well worth adding them to this album. But what are some of your favorite tracks that we haven't talked about?
Do you want to answer first, Charlie?
Oh, it's one of those where it's like choosing your favorite child, I suppose. I don't have children, but I imagine it's that. I think the whole album, as the track order represents, it flows really nicely, and you have those instrumental interludes which punctuate the stories and keep those themes evolving without words as well.
Let me ask you a different question. If you were to do a live production, which one would you want to sing first? Which one is like, God, I just can't wait to sing this thing?
The title track is one of my favorites to sing. It's just a great one to deliver, although Sneak Attack is probably a very, very close second.
Talk about that one. I was gonna ask you about that one.
That's one of my favorite melodies that I've written, just generally. I think it's such a nice hook. I think the song's got a really nice groove. Which lent itself to how I ended up phrasing the chorus, and it's just I love that one.
Yeah, I think the harmonies as well are up there with being, and we've got some fantastic harmonies on the album, but the harmonies on Sneak Attack, when we were recording them, and some of them are like 3- and 4-way harmonies, and certainly in the middle 8, just before the solo, and it's just like, when we were listening back, it was just such an an incredible time. I'll never forget those moments where we all just look at each other like, "Oh, did we just really? Did we just do it? Yeah, exactly.
Do
Like,
this,
"No,
yeah.
did we just do that?"
There's another one where Dom keeps pushing.
Yeah.
I've got an idea, guys. And he starts playing it on the piano, and I look at him like, "Are you really making me go there?" There's a little falsetto on the second verse. I'm
There is.
doubling up with myself in falsetto. It's absolute like by the time you get to the last line, I'm just glaring at Dom. How dare you make me do this? Working with Dom has unlocked a whole other level for how I approach vocals, and certainly backing vocals, which I knew was a weakness of mine. I'm okay finding a lead melody. And sometimes I'll bring a backing idea to the table, but when you present that to Dom, he just runs with it and layers and layers and layers things until you've practically got an orchestra of yourself.
Yep.
It's amazing. He actually did that for me on the Nine Skies track, The Haunted, as well, because now I want to do everything with Dom.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's a
Right.
super
How about-
talent.
Oh, go
talent.
ahead. No, go ahead, John.
Yeah, I was just saying about Dom. He's such a super talented individual. You know, multi instrumentalist. You know, he's amazing with, but his ear and his way that certainly around the vocals, because I mean, he takes what I send him and kind of tweaks it and things, but with the vocals, when his direction that he gives to Charlie is, you know, and some of the ideas have really made the songs. And then, you know, his mix and his mixing skills are just phenomenal. He really goes above and beyond, and you know, to have that cohesive sound from this first note on the album to the last, that's not down to me. I might have wrote, you know, 95% of the music, but that's down to Dom and how he, you know, hears how he interprets what we send, and then how he, you know, pulls it into the Age of Distraction format. That's all him. You know, that's yeah. He's an uber talent. It really is. He really is.
How about Break My Bones? That thing is just a supersonic. I really enjoyed it. It's full of everything, especially the keyboards and synthesizers at the beginning.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
go ahead.
Funnily enough,
What's that Charlie wants to talk about.
I'm sorry, I'll just say really quick. I mean, I'm no keyboard player whatsoever, but when I wrote the song, I actually played those. So that's actually me playing keyboards as well as guitars. But I wrote the idea, the opening line on guitar, and then played it on keyboards. I ain't gonna lie, I had to play it slower in MIDI and then speed it up. So you
Don't
know,
matter.
I'm making myself out to be probably better than I actually am here. But yeah, it's but again, that was Dom, how Dom kind of you know, put the layers in, certainly at the, because we wanted a huge start to the album coming off the kind of piano piece. So and yeah, Dom certainly made that happen. Sorry, Charlie, go on, sir.
No, I was just going to say that was always the opening vocal track, wasn't it? It just it sounds like it gets the blood pumping straight away with that little synth introduction. I'd originally imagined it with two vocalists, because if you listen to the lyrics, it's almost like two people talking to each other.
Yeah.
But we recorded that one kind of to demo it, I guess, so with my parts and the other vocal part, and I think we're just happy with the delivery to such an extent that hang on, we don't. No, it's fine as it is. That's what they tell me. So yeah.
And then after all of this distraction and challenges and crisis and all these things, you close the album with My Peace. And I had to finish with that because I really like that song as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about that after all the go ahead.
Well, I don't know if anyone else will have noticed, but basically there's a theme right at the end of Protect Me, where it's kind of like a small guitar solo, and we love it. you know, every time we played it, you know, we as a band we were like, it's such a gorgeous piece of music, and it's only there for a snapshot and then it's gone. And that was intentional on Protect Me. So I wanted to kind of bring it back. So I just basically spent a couple of hours one Sunday afternoon and program that out. So that actual theme and the progression and everything is a bit of a kind of, you know, tip of the hat to Protect Me. And I just think it's a really nice way to kind of bookend the album and really close it out. Hopefully, you know, that kind of comes across when you listen to the album, that it does kind of bring it to a close.
Yeah, for me, it brings that sort of reconciliation or acceptance, whatever kind of bookend you want to have on it. It's there. It is a moment of, we've been through all of this, and now it's time to accept things, move on. Comes at the right place. It's a lovely motif. I'm really pleased that you wanted to have it recur at the end of the album.
Won't be the last time we hear it neither.
Oh, spoilers.
Here it comes. All right, so let's since you brought that up, we'll close with that. Are you working? I mean, I'm sure you've got, so you already mentioned some of the songs that could possibly be on part 2. But are you deep in work on part 2 yet? Or I mean, it's amazing that artists do this, but you know, they haven't really even released one. But yeah, probably through the whole process, you're like, God, I wish I would have done this, or I wish I would have done that. And then that's what you do in part 2. But go ahead.
Well, funnily enough, I've just kind of sent the boys probably, well, I've sent them some ideas over the last probably 2 or 3 months, but today was the first day that I've sent them all the stems and, you know, kind of a piece that I'm pretty happy with, that they can all go away and, you know, get to work on. So yeah, album 2 is most certainly in the early stages, but once it gets moving, I guarantee it won't be long. The only bottleneck will be kind of people's, you know, commitments and diaries and so on, for certainly moving into kind of you know, from probably June onwards. I would imagine we'll probably struggle a little bit for time, but it'll all be there ready and waiting. And you know, the album will still be, well, the album again, it's not released till the 31st of May, so we're going to want a nice campaign to ensure that gets as far and as wide as it can before even kind of discussing album 2. But I mean, I am going to discuss it because it's already underway. So
So this band's going to be around for a while. I knew that when I first heard the first album, but now hearing the way you guys are talking, you're going to be hearing about this band for quite some time. Not just, you know, they're not a one-hit, one album band. They're going to be around, and it's great to hear that all these guys, as superstars as they are, you mentioned No Egos and all that stuff at the beginning, and they want to work. This is a group of people that want to work together, and that is all it takes, really. I mean, that's fantastic to hear, really. One last thing, do you guys, because we're running out of time here, do you guys have anything you want to talk about that I haven't discussed?
Charlie?
I'll just say it's really great of you, Mark, to have us on today to talk to your audience, and really appreciate the enthusiasm that you've written about this album with and talked to us today. So thank you so much for that, and I hope that your audience enjoys the album as much as you appear to have, and as much as we've enjoyed making it. It's been a real pleasure, and I'm already really excited about what the future is going to hold for Age of Distraction. You know, I do take on a lot of projects, but when the music that you've been sent is this good,
you want to be a part of it. Yeah,
you want to be part of it. You don't want to be on the outside looking in.
And
so
he's already got the tracks for album 2, or the
book
it. Yeah, so
what I've been sent today, it's like, yeah, wow. Great. Awesome.
Yeah, I can I'll echo that same sentiment. Really, that I mean, it's amazing the amount of support, and obviously from yourself, Mark, as well. So I really appreciate that. Incredible reviews so far of everyone that's published a review, which again is to say that a year ago this band wasn't a band. Now we, in 4 weeks' time, we're going to have a physical album that's getting, put through people's post boxes, and hopefully people will be, talking about it far and wide. So yeah, it's just great to be part of the whole scene, and doing things like this it's fun talking to, again, like I reference back to, but no ego, no, just people who are into the same music, who want to have the same interests, and want to, kind of chat about it. And, you get inspired by that. I'm inspired literally looking at you, Mark, and then I see behind you,
Thanks.
you've got Dream Theater Awake, which is my favorite Dream Theater album. So that's all I keep looking at. And that, it's, you're in good company when you see that. So.
Yep, we got Queensryche
Management
on
first.
the other side. Yes, that actually, the palm tree's in front of it, but that is a poster and artwork that he did for Starbucks anniversary. Starbucks is real big here in the Seattle area. And if you haven't heard John Evangelis, that album, Friends of Mr. Cairo, please put it on your list of albums to listen to. And
Cool.
it's hard to see it back there, but ELP, the last Emerson, Lake and Powell is not too bad either. It's not as good as Emerson, Lake and Palmer, but it is a heck of an album. But
Cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
That's all that stuff is from the days in the 70s when album covers meant something and record stores were nice enough to give out posters like that. Now you can't find them, and it's a shame.
No,
Yeah.
no, different world.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, hey, very good talking with both of you.
And you.
I think we're going to be talking in the future, because I invite you for sure, and hopefully you guys would accept. But looking forward to
100%.
the next album, and thank you for the first album, because I can't wait to get it. I mean, the physical